Conversation continues with Brian Chasnoff, investigative reporter for the San Antonio Express News, and Iris Dimmick, senior reporter for the Rivard Report. Iris, one thing that has befuddled the city for some time is the fate of the Hay Street Bridge. You've been doing some interesting reporting on this. Bring us up to date on where we stand with the Hay Street Bridge and what the controversy is all about.
Sure, it actually has to do with the land immediately adjacent to the Hay Street Bridge. A developer wanted to build a 5-story residential apartment complex there, which has, which the community, a lot of people in the community were very opposed to because it blocks views of the bridge, and it is seen to kind of commercialize that public space on the bridge for the use of those residents instead of everyone. But beyond that, the developer has not even started to build anything yet because he is in talks with the city, the mayor and Councilman Art Hall, to potentially swap some land down, like less than a mile away on Cherry Street that the city owns and is slated to become residential anyway. So they're in sensitive negotiations right now about what that actually looks like, but they're essentially is just going to move that project down. The Hayes Street Restoration Group wants that land next to the bridge to become a park, and so that is looking more and more likely every day. Though part of the agreement, it will likely include that there will be a community conversation about what that park looks like, what that land is actually used for at the end of the day. So. The city wants that to be done before the runoff election in District 2, but that's a pretty quick turnaround, so we'll see how quickly they can pull that deal off.
Brian, you've been covering the effort to get rid of constables in both Bexar County and Kendall County. We talked a little bit about that on the TV show. What right does the Commissioner's Court have to abolish an elective office? Can they get rid of a constable?
Yeah, so abolishing the office is different from removing an elected official. Those are two separate processes. Removing an elected official is sort of a court action. It is a court action. Any citizen in a county can file a petition alleging misconduct on the part of the constable, and then a judge has to grant an order citing the officer. Which is kind of a high bar. And when a judge does that, then you can temporarily remove that official and appoint someone else pending a jury trial. So there's a process to remove any county elected official, and so that's what the rumblings are. It's actually going on in Kendall County, just north of us right now, and no one here in Bexar County has filed a petition yet, but Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolf requested the DA come and brief the commissioners on how someone does that. The DA backed out at the last minute. But.
Now, this would be very difficult to accomplish. Is it worth it for a constable to go through all this? Sounds like a very expensive process. You'd mentioned earlier that the constable really doesn't do very much. What serves process and protects the JPs. I mean, that doesn't seem like a very high standard of responsibility.
So the question is,
is it worth going through all this to have somebody else protect the JPs as opposed to this woman?
If the allegations against Constable Vela are accurate, then I'm sure that some would argue, yes, it's worth it, because she is, in that case, she would be committing misconduct, arresting political opponents, shaking down citizens for cash in county parks. Then in that case, perhaps she should be removed.
So where do things stand with that effort and the effort in Kendall County?
Kendall County is much more advanced than Bexar County. In Kendall County, there's actually a county commissioner up there who is going to file the petition. And the reason is that the constable up there hasn't shown up to work in 2 years. So it's sort of more of a slam dunk case there. I mean, if this guy's collecting a paycheck for doing nothing, then the case is pretty strong.
And Kendall County seems to be doing pretty well, so this once again begs the question of why do we need to continue to have
That's a
taxpayers
good
fund
point.
this
If
off?
he's not- well, they got a deputy sheriff to do the constable's job.
Okay,
So
which seems like something that could be done in Bexar County
Yeah,
as well.
right.
Iris, you co-moderated a discussion between the mayoral candidates. What questions did you leave with? When you were walking out the door, what were you thinking about and saying, you know something, this needs to be answered?
Well, I mean, I think the answer, or the question that is hanging over for me right now is this 2009 document and where it came from, who wrote it.
Officer Daniel Gomez.
Right. Yeah. Yes. We know the name of the person, but like, what other reports has he done? You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many. I have so many questions about that specific document, and I don't know that we're going to be able to answer them before the runoff.
Will this matter, do you guys think? Will this affect votes on June 8th?
I mean, it'll affect some votes. You know, which side will turn out more is the question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think, Iris? Do you think this is going to be the tipping point? Will this issue be the difference maker? Or have people essentially made up their minds already?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's hard to say, of course, but I don't know that this is swaying people away from Brockhouse or toward. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you were already a Brockhouse supporter before this conversation happened, then you probably still are. It may inspire other people to vote against him, but.
Iris Dimmick is senior reporter for the Rivard Report, and Brian Chasnoff, of course, investigative reporter for the San Antonio Express News. Thank you for joining us on The Conversation Continues.